Hi everyone, it's Kira with Polymer Clay TV, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cool little wall plaque. And the whole inspiration started with this charm that I got at the store, and I used letter stamps to write out a little saying. It says "Go your own way," and I used some image transfers and sparkly gel pens to color my design. So let me show you how I did this. We're going to get started in just a second. I just wanted to let you know that all the tools that I'm using you can find at createalong.com. So come create along with me at Polymer Clay TV. Let's get started. So it all started here. I saw this at the store and I really liked it because I have a thing for arrows and compasses right now. So that was a charm that I bought. And I'm going to use chain and make this sort of like jewelry for the wall. I have these Art Bites art panels that I got from Jerry's Artorama, I believe. So there's 5 in a pack, and they're sort of like little rigid art panels, so I'll use that to base it on. I'm going to use Color Me Magic Transfer for the background. I have this awesome tool. This is a Martha Stewart tool, and it is a corkscrew drill, and I'll show you what that's for. I'm going to use my gel pens because we've talked about this, but we haven't done it on the show yet. My lettering set, some Pearl-Ex in turquoise and flamingo pink, and my Primo accents in, this is granite, hang on, what color is this? Graphite Pearl. Sorry, it's Graphite Pearl. And then, of course, I've got my tools, and I know I'm going to use some of the, probably this one right here, the flower. So I've got my metal tools and all my various other, I use this one all the time, my bullet-tipped rubber tool and my little tools, all that stuff I always keep together. So let's go ahead and get started by rolling out your clay to a number, maybe a 3 on your pasta machine, and we're going to transfer some of this paper onto it. All right, for starters, this is a 5-inch canvas. It has a great little place to sign it and stuff, and it's nice and rigid. So I'm happy with this, but I also know that my clay, to get a big piece of clay like that, I don't really need to cover the whole thing with clay. I'm going to use my finger right now, and I've got some Dr. Martin iridescent calligraphy color in the color nickel, and I'm just going to use my finger and paint the edge of my canvas with this iridescent color. For the next step, I have taken a big chunk of this Magic Transfer image and cut it out and put it face down on my clay. And I'm going to let it sit here for a few minutes until I can see that the clay is leaching up into the paper. You can see it because the paper starts to turn a little bit dark on the back side. And then I'm just going to take it to my sink and rinse it off. And you may be asking, Kira, why are you transferring a black image onto this dark clay? And that is part of my whole project idea here, so we're going to talk about that in the next step. I trimmed off the excess clay with my blade, and if you haven't seen this before, I just wanted to show you, this is a sprayer of water. I just want to show you what this Magic Transfer paper actually does. So when you wet the paper, it raises up and you can just wipe it right off. You can see the design starting to show through the paper because I'm wetting it down. And I'm going to take it to the sink now and continue rinsing it under a gentle, gentle stream of water. And you will see that the paper fiber just kind of comes right off. There's no weighting. So where you have other methods where you have to, like, see that? The paper fiber just swipes right off. And you don't have to touch it very hard. There's no real weighting or scrubbing like with other methods. So this is just me doing it on camera so you can see, but it's much easier to do under the gentle running faucet of your sink. And you'll see that you just have the ink design left on your clay. Our transfer is finished and dry and ready to play. So you can see it's on the clay. And my little canvas is over here. And I'm just going to cut a piece of this to fit in the middle of this. So I'm just going to use my blade and pick the part that I like the best, which I'm going to try to preserve this big swirl over here. So I'll cut off some of the top and some of this side, and let's see what size piece we're left with. And don't forget that you can keep these because this would make a good piece for earrings or a necklace or something like along those lines. You never have waste with polymer clay. You can save it and do something else with the extra pieces. So I'm just going to set those to the side, and then I have a wavy edge there, so we'll just trim this off. And once your image is transferred, you can mess with it. You can cut it. You can see that it acts just like a regular piece of clay. So now if I bring this over here and take a look at what I got, I have a piece that's going to fit in the middle of that nicely. So I'm going to just leave it on here so that I can play with it. And now I'm going to color over this design with my gel pens. And these are, the brand is Tech Writer. I got them on Amazon and they work really well. The ones I'm using are all like glitter colors. They're jelly glitter colors and they're a lot of fun. So what we can do now is use this image as a guideline and actually color right over it with the gel pen. And I like that I used a dark color of clay because this style of gel pen works really great on dark backgrounds. If you're very gentle, you won't even dent the clay. And notice my clay is not cured yet. Now you could do this on your cured clay and I think it would be just fine, but I kind of want to, because I've done this before and I know it's going to work, I want to bake the pen right onto the clay so that it really is set in there and sticks and I don't have any trouble later. So take as much time as you want to do your coloring. It's pretty cool how it comes out. I need a piece of paper or something to get it to flow again. But you get the idea. You can color right on your polymer clay. All right, you decide how much or how little you want to color it and how much or how little you want to stay in the lines or make your own lines. Whatever you want to do is fine. I'm going to set this down and get some clay to do some stamping. So now I'm going to go ahead and make 4 corners just using a stamp from my metal stamp set. So these are going to go in the corners of my canvas. So I'm going to make them ahead of time. I'm going to powder them to highlight the designs. So I'm just going to get a little powder on my finger, tap it off in the cap, and just highlight the stampings. And then use my blade to chop them up into squares. So I can lift out the extra, and I'm just going to bake these all on this piece of Teflon. So I have another piece of clay, and on this piece I am going to stamp some words. So the words that I'm going to use for myself, because I've got the compass with the little arrow, I'm going to stamp "Go Your Own Way." So these are just little stamp guys. You just have to make sure that you are lining them up the right way so you don't disappoint yourself. All right, once you have that stamped, then you can decide how you want to trim it. Actually, I think I'm going to leave a little on the sides because I have an idea. And I'm going to grab my chisel tip tool here and press this on. Actually, I'll do that after I'm going to powder it with pink first. I want to make sure that those letters are going to stand out, so I'm going to put some pink on my finger, swipe it off on here. To highlight my words. All right, and now that I've done that, I'm going to take this little guy and put it here, and the other one on the other side. And make it look like a little screw. So when I glue it all together later, it'll look like that's being held on by a screw. Now I'm going to go ahead and bake everything on here. I'm going to bake my word strip, my background, and my little corners. All right, we're all baked and out of the oven now, and just doing a little layout, making sure everything's going to go where I want it to go before I glue it down. So I've got my four corners and my middle piece and my text. I'm just going to use a hot glue gun. And what I've done here is I've attached my charm to a piece of chain and I'm going to hang it kind of in the center here. And just need to know how much chain and where I want to put a hole, because I have a ring here, just a jump ring, a big one, that I'm going to hang it from. And I've got a couple other things. I don't know if I'm going to use them. I pulled out some jewelry type stuff just because I thought I might, I thought I might be able to use these kind of hanging from the ring. So I make jewelry, so I have things like this lying around. You don't have to go out and get anything you don't want to use, but it might be fun, you know, to just put a little tassels or whatever. I'm just going to get my hot glue gun and glue all of this down. All right, so this tool has cutters that come with it, and I'm going to go ahead and they screw into the back end here. I'm going to close this up so I don't lose my other ones, and then this is a little chuck that opens up, and you put your cutter in here, set it down in there, and then screw that chuck back on. This tool comes from Japanese bookbinding. It's basically a spiral hole punch. So you're going to want to do it on a surface, And I'm going to put a hole right in the middle here. That's what I'm going to use to hang my ring from and connect up this piece of chain. So it's almost all the way through. You can see it starts to, it pulls up in here, and then there's a slot here where when it gets full, they start falling out there. So with a thick thing like this, you gotta go a couple times until it goes all the way through. And there it is, poking out on the other side. Okay. So now I can just unscrew this. This tool is great. It works on polymer clay also. So it's a great little mixed media tool to have when you want to drill a nice looking hole in a thick piece of material like this chipboard or leather or baked polymer clay. So now that I have that, I am going to just open this ring. Put this little tassel on it, put my chain on here, and put the ring back on this, and close it up. And now I can hang it. You can put a little bow or whatever you want up there to hang it on the wall. And look how cute that is. Thanks so much for joining me on Polymer Clay TV, and I hope that you will come over to Create Along and check out all the pre-printed image transfers that we have. They're called Color Me Magic Transfer Paper, and make something fun. See you next time.